Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I have the SCT Sampler Kit unboxing for you for the month of January 2021. This kit is a little bit different than what they typically offer, and we'll get to that. Now here is their word embellishment, which is definitely typical for them. I love those word embellishments. This time we have the date for the new year. And our reusable item this month is a little Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I have a little surprise for you with that stamp set, so stick around to the end and I'll tell you about that surprise. Now, we do have some extra little embellishment pieces from different manufacturers, and I will pop those up on the screen because I don't have the words in front of me right now. But what is different about this kit this month is that normally we'll have pattern papers and ephemera and stuff from a couple of different manufacturers. And this month it's all from the Simple Stories line. And that makes sense because this particular line, and again, I'll put that name up on the screen because I don't have it in front of me. This particular line is all about the calendar year, and I think its intention is to help easily document a year, maybe in a pocket page kind of style. Now, I don't do pocket pages, but I can totally make this product work for me. So also included, we've got some ephemera, some foam stickers, a partial pack of that sticker sheet. Now, all these pattern papers, even the smaller pieces, are all cut apart from the larger 12 by 12 pattern papers. And these parts, we get one from each month. And these are 6 by 8 pieces, and the other journaling cards were 4 by 6 pieces. So that is most of the sheet of pattern paper, actually. So I go through and I match up, as you can see, the A sides and the B sides. Or I use the B side rather to match up the pieces that originally came apart from the 12 by 12 pattern paper. Now, because I won't use the journal cards that say September or August, pretty much because that's not how I scrapbook, I will tend to use the B-sides of this pattern paper. And I will show you, whenever I do an unboxing, I do a project. So I will show you how I take these smaller pieces of pattern paper and make it work for my style of 12 by 12. So let's go ahead and move on to that. Now I'm going to document these Christmas photos from 2019, actually. And I don't have specifically Christmas product here. Now I do have some things that say December and such, and I will use those. But let me give you some tips about how I go about using non-specifically themed products for a specifically themed layout. I am choosing colors and patterns that will work for this theme. Now here's a cut apart that has numbers on it, so I'm going to cut apart the number 25 because that works for Christmas. I chose reds because red is a common Christmas color. I chose circles because those remind me of Christmas ornaments. So those are all the things that I'm thinking about when I'm choosing non-themed paper to make a themed layout. I am going through all of the embellishments and choosing things along the same lines that will work for this theme. And because I'm going to use that love word as my title, and my title is going to say love this eventually, I went with the hearts because that has to do with love, and they're in red, so I think that works quite well for the color scheme. Now here I am putting these pattern papers into a full 12 by 12 sheet. And how I go about doing that is I will have myself a grid paper or some such thing, and then I just bump them up together and use a strip of scrap paper, and I use about 1-inch wide strips, and I just put adhesive on the back of them and just glue them across where those pattern papers line up. And I do try and make sure they're nice and tight together so that there's not a gap showing through when I'm all done with this. Now, because that red floral pattern paper, which kind of reminds me of poinsettias, I know it's floral for Christmas, but if you think about it that way, it works. So I use that red floral as my kind of poinsettia type style. Now, because I wanted to use some of the A side of that paper, I did cut it a bit smaller than the full 12 by 12. So that's okay because now I have a kind of this gallon quart pint, there we go, theme or design style to this layout. Now the gallon is the larger portion of pattern paper, the quart is that middle floral paper, and the pint is that small polka dot at the bottom. So that is one of the ways that I go about piecing back together pattern papers. This journal card I'm going to use for my title, but it didn't have enough contrast when it was put straight down onto that pattern paper. So I'm searching through the stack to find a piece that I want, and I decided because that V had some teal in it, I would go with some teal, which will pop against the more aqua blue and the red. So I go ahead and use that to map my journal card. And later I will bring in more of that teal to the bottom of the layout, because when I add something to one zone of the layout, I want to make sure that it makes sense in the rest of the layout so that I carry that, excuse me, my voice is a bit rough today, so that I carry that element throughout the layout. Now here I am adhering down my photos, and I like to just glue them down in the middle because I do like to tuck my embellishment clusters under edges and over the top, so I leave myself that option when I put things down. As I'm working with these foam letters, I just very gently set them down on my page so that they don't adhere all the way, and that gives me the option to pick them up and move them around and get the spacing how I want. So I did fussy cut out this December tag and that number 25 out of the number sheet, and that brings in some elements that match up with my theme, even though these are not themed papers. I am going to give stuff dimension with the foam dots that were included in this kit, and I will be honest, I don't like these foam dots. Popping out those little circles from the larger carrier sheet did not make me happy. So most of the time, I love all the products in my kits, but those foam dots did not make me happy. So I just wanted to say that and be honest and let you know when I love something and when I don't. Okay, so I am moving on with my embellishment clusters, and again, I'm working with those foam dots, and it was a slow process, so you get to hear my lovely voice as I talk about it. Okay, giving dimension to elements in my cluster, and I bring in those hearts, and now, like I said, I had those hearts in that cluster, so I'm using this little home that has a heart on it, so that was perfect for what I needed for this layout, because we're all at home enjoying each other and the idea of loving these moments together. So you just saw me pull in a alphabet die set, and that is a Lawn Fawn product. It'll be linked in the show notes. And I die cut that black and white polka dot for the rest of my title. Now, I have brought in some vellum because that alphabet polka dot was not popping on my layout well enough. So I was going to back it with some vellum so that I could still see that pattern paper, but I mute it down so that my title will read more clearly. Now it doesn't end up being perfect. I do use 2 layers of vellum, and you can see here's the first layer of vellum, and that title still isn't quite readable enough on top of that busy pattern paper, but the second layer makes it better. Now the camera isn't picking it up quite as clearly, but it is much more readable in person than it used to be. So again, I'm carrying these vellum pieces throughout the layout so that it all is cohesive and makes sense. I use a piece of vellum to add my journaling lines. Now, when I'm stamping on vellum, I prefer a dye ink. When I try this with pigment ink, it just doesn't seem to want to dry. So I do use a dye ink when I'm stamping on vellum, and I do give it some time to dry because it is a little slower than paper. So those are some tips on using vellum for you. You can double up the layers, you can stamp on it. When I adhere it down, I'm making sure that I tuck it under something else and put the glue only on the part where you tuck it so you don't see the glue. So those are all good tips for working with vellum. What I'm doing now is finishing up my embellishing of this layout. It's not going to get a lot. I'm not a huge embellisher. I do small, moderate clusters of items and then sprinkle things around. So I am in the sprinkling mode here. I was going to use those wood veneer arrows to add emphasis to things, and when I do that, I'm mixing them up with the foam arrows that were included on that sheet. I'm throwing in a few little enamel dots there at the end. And then that is going to call my embellishing done for this layout. Now, a couple of other tips to think about this layout. We talked about non-holiday products for a holiday theme. We talked about using vellum. We talked about using non-holiday embellishments on a holiday layout. The other thing I wanted to mention is you can see me here adding some pin work to add a little bit more decor to the holiday theme here. So that is another tip. And from this final photo, now it's hard to see on the video, but that middle photo that I took of my girls is pretty blurry, and I do try to show it, but I don't mind using blurry photos. Now I won't make that the main photo of my layout, but I am happy to put it in with a grouping of photos, especially when it tells a larger story. And so don't be afraid to use your blurry photos. I will leave you here with these still photos and wrap it up. I hope you got something useful out of this video. If you did, please give me a like, and I will be back on Friday with another video for you. Oh, but before we go, you made it to the end. I have this surprise for you. Now, I already own this little stamp set from Lawn Fawn, so I am going to be doing a giveaway. It's a small giveaway, I know, but all you have to do is be subscribed, give this video a like, and leave me a comment in the video talking about something that you liked from this video. So I will pick a winner on by end of day Friday, and I will notify the winner on Saturday. And good luck to you, and please do come back on Friday.